Hello, Internet, and welcome to my very late review for Attack on Titan episodes 50 through 52, the mid-season premiere, I guess we're calling it. When we last left our heroes, like 7 fucking months ago, because this is a pretty late video, they would finally left Walrose and were they leave from Trost, I think? Yeah, it was definitely Trost. For their final push to retake Shiganshina and find out what's in the goddamn basement. So yeah, with that said, let's jump right on in with this new opening, which is certainly something. I think it's probably my least favorite opening that Titan's given us in its 6-year run, as it just doesn't really leave much of an impression on me. It's just kind of there, I guess. Like, say what you will about Red Swan, last season's opening, but, like, it leaves an impression on the viewer. And also, it's just a really good song on top of that. It's not really in the traditional Titan style, which, the 5th opening certainly is. But, like, it's different, and it's trying desperately to be different, and it does it really well. This one, for one thing, the vocals are just so muddled that I can barely hear them. So that's, like, just not a good thing. And it just kind of feels like, it very much spends a lot of time repeating motifs you've heard before, which works in a way in that, you know, it adds to the sense that this is, like, the finale of, if not the series, of what this series has been building to for the past 50 episodes. But, like, it does feel like we kind of just heard this song before. Anyway, on to the actual show. We've returned from our 6-month hiatus as the scouts are, like, walking through the forest at night on the way to Shiganshina. They picked a new moon so that the Titans cannot even use the little bit of moonlight that the moon gives them to come to life. We do get this really effective sequence as just, like, out of the blue, they encounter just a sleeping Titan. Thankfully does not wake up, though it is kind of a huge fucking red herring that it's there. But there's this constant expectation while they're watching it that it will just spring to life at any moment, and it creates this really heightened atmosphere. After that, we are introduced to our old friend, Eren's crippling self-doubt. And admittedly, I thought we had kind of gotten past this after the Rod arc. I felt like everyone, like, just telling him to fucking shut up, and, like, you know, I don't know, I feel like everything with both, everyone's faith in him in the aftermath of aftermath of his capture by Rod, and listening to, Shada's, backstory, kind of had assuaged his, crippling self-doubt, but I guess it doesn't really go away that easy, so, you know. Thankfully, Armin can comfort him enough to assuage it for now, with a scene that's also a nice reminder of the good old days, when Armin was a main character. We have a flashback to the book about the sea and all that. Admittedly, it's also a nice way, to kind of ease us into Armin being a main character again, which he definitely is by, these 3 episodes ending, which is good, because before Historia came and rocketed onto the scene, Armin was very much my favorite character. Now we'll see if he can outdo Historia for that honor, but that'll be an uphill battle. Though, maybe not, because Historia's not even fucking in this arc. She's back at the capital or whatever, right? Anyway. After that, after 6 long years, we are finally back in Shiganshina. At long last, we're home. And yeah, there's definitely this, like, rousing feeling to Eren's flight through Shiganshina to the outer walls, which he seals first, which I guess I understand. It would stop any more Titans from reaching Shiganshina and inside Walmaria. They plugged the outer one first, but they were already on the inner wall, so I think that would, like, logically be the first one they'd go for. It also helps with Reiner later on, but whatever. We'll talk about that when we get there. There's definitely is this, it keeps up this rousing feeling, even as we know that there's, like, this suspicious, complete absence of any Titans, and that Reiner and Bertholdt have to be watching them. But even with that, it's just very exciting to finally be back in Shiganshina. And also, I feel like finally is a word that's going to be said a lot this season. There's a lot of finallys going on, I wager. Just like that, the outer wall is sealed. Walmaria is secured. Well, Bertholdt is still around and can kick it down at any moment, but for the moment, while Maria's seals. Like, it went suspiciously well, and it's very transitory, depending on how they deal with Bertholdt, but it still happened. Like, holy shit. Meanwhile, Armin and the rest of the scouts are trying to find where Reiner and Bertholdt are hiding, because Armin sees the remnants of a campfire on the wall, and like, oh shit, they were just here. And figure that there are at least 4 of them, because there are the 3 cups that we see in episode 52 are Reiner, Bertholdt, and the Beast guy, whose name I don't think we know yet. I've had his name spoiled, but I don't think we've actually learned his name in the anime yet, so I'm not going to bring it up. But because there must have been a scout, Erwin figures out that there are 4 Titans, or 4 shifters, leaving Erwin to trust Armin with a squad to track down Reiner and Bertholdt. And I love both Armin's unconfidence at suddenly being, like, thrust into leadership, and also, like, all the soldiers, like, holy shit, we're listening to Armin? And Erwin being so completely confident in Armin's, like, intelligence. You know, as an old Armin fan, I high-key approve. And Erwin has proven right in his faith, as Armin realizes that the Titans must be hiding in the walls. As it's the one place that the Titan... Apparently, I did not notice this way back in Season 1. Reiner and Bertholdt did not notice that the Wall Titan's face appeared at the end of Season 1 when Annie climbed up the wall. So they don't know... Reiner does not know that the humans know that the walls are not just straight walls. But Armin pieces all this together, and there's a really cool shot of the camera, like, spinning around Armin. It's a really cool shot. But anyway, all through this episode, there's just been this super calm, like, atmospheric creepiness in all of this, until one of the soldiers finds a hollow in the wall, and out pops this super casual shot. Like, the shot of Reiner taking out the panel that's hiding him looks so casual and calm, which is a big thing with Reiner. Both with his outing himself as the Armored Titan, and then with, in the next episode we'll talk about Reiner and Erwin scene. But all of this, you know, seems so casual until Reiner throws the panel down and stabs the guy in the gut. But Reiner is still quickly made to transform into the Armored Titan after Levi gives him some deadly wounds, like a stab through the neck, that he only barely survived. I'll talk about that in a hot second when we get to 51. And right at this point, the Beast Titan and a bunch of regular Titans just spring to life outside Shiganshina, all ready for the final battle for humanity within the walls. Now let's jump right into 51. So, first thing to point out is the Luggage Titan, or Lord Platypus, as I call him sometimes. So Erwin sees this 4-legged Titan carrying luggage, and he thinks that that's the Titan Scout. And he's proved right in episode 52 when we get the flashback to what the Titans have been up to all this time, or a little bit of what they've been up to all this time. But as soon as you figure that out, the Beast Titan gives the signal, and all the Titans, or a good chunk of the Titans, charge the wall. Another chunk just surround them. Because we find out that the Beast Titan is after the horses. Because if you can get rid of the horses, humanity cannot escape the wall. And so they can just wait until everyone, like, starves to death, and then they can pick up Eren at the last moment and presumably eat him and get this mysterious coordinate that's been their goal for a couple seasons now. Also, he entrusts Levi to take out the Beast Titan when the time comes. Anyway, after Reiner becomes the Armored Titan, we get this look inside Reiner's head as he climbs the wall and looks out to go get the horses himself. But we get something interesting. He mentions that the only reason he survived Levi's attack in episode 50 is because he transferred his consciousness into his body. And this is visualized by this yellow light moving from his brain into his torso. And we also find out in episode 52 that's how he survives the Thunder Sphere attack at the end of episode 51. But what does that mean? How does any of that work? I imagine we'll get, as we find out more about the Titans this season, we'll get more and more details on that. Anyway, back to Reiner on Walmaria. I love everything about just the image of Erwin and Reiner just like casually staring at each other atop Walmaria. Especially with Reiner in his armored titan form. Like, there's just something so plain about it. It makes it both really funny, as Erwin just kind of like side-eyes Reiner. And also a showcase of just how badass Erwin is. He can just like casually glance at the armored titan without even moving. But anyway, then Erwin's distraction plan works, as he makes Reiner think that Eren is going to run away and make everything that they've done worthless. So Reiner abandons his immediate plan to go after the horses and starts chasing down Eren, which gives us the rematch of the century, Eren versus Reiner. Which is pretty good. Their attacks are... There's definitely a lot of weight to their attacks. It's not quite a highlight. I don't think it's quite as good as their match back in Season 2, but it's a good time nonetheless. Anyway, back with Erwin, not Eren. Why are their names so similar? Also, that's the thing that's been bugging me since Season 1, but that's not the point. We get this little tidbit of Erwin's character that maybe could have been implied earlier in the series, but that I don't think has ever been directly said before. His main focus, we find out, for all of his speechifying about for the glory of humanity and for humanity's survival, has never been the victory of humanity, but improving his father's theories about how humanity got into the walls right. Like, that's what it's all been about. Having humanity survive is a plus, but like that's why he thinks to himself that even if the plan fails, even if humanity is wiped out here, he'll still maybe get to see the basement before he dies. He wants the answers. Everything else is kind of secondary to that. We'll see if he has some change of heart once he finds out whatever's in the basement, but I don't really know what's in the basement. Anyway, back to the battle. We find out a little more about Hanji's new weapon, the Thunder Spear. Essentially, it can like deliver a blast that's equivalent to getting struck by lightning. She hopes that the blast will be strong enough to pierce Reiner's armor. And they work, easily destroying Reiner's armor, much like Eren was with his hardened fist. But even more so than that, blinding him when she shoots a couple in his eyes, and leaving his nape wide open. Does not kill him immediately. But before that, Sasha and Connie have this great moment where the two of them and Jean and all the other scouts are about to go for the final assault on Reiner, killing him, ending or at least making a big dent in the Titan's military strength. But they hesitate. Because sure, he's almost directly responsible for the death of half of humanity. But Reiner Braun was still their friend once. But at this point, Jean still stops them like, no, we have to kill him. This is it. We've come way too far to back down now, and Reiner has to go. And then they do. They blast Reiner. We see the Thunder Spears right next to Reiner in the nape, and then they blow up, seemingly killing him. And we get it's a long time into 52, which we'll jump into now, before we find out what happened to Reiner. But before we can find out, we jump into a way back flashback to the end of the Battle of Trost. As Reiner and Bertholdt are perhaps stupidly discussing their plans on a rooftop, where Marco hears them. And we find out, we kind of could have assumed this from some conversation in Season 2, but that Reiner and Bertholdt and Annie specifically stole Marco's ODM gear after he learned too much and left them on a rooftop to be eaten by a Titan. And it's a gruesome scene. Holy shit. We kind of knew this, but still, to see it in action, holy shit. And then we get at first I thought we had not heard this before, and then I just got it spoiled somehow. But then we saw the why is the Titan eating Marco, and I was like, wait a sec, that was a Season 2 line. But still, just to see how it all went down, holy shit. Also, they make some mention of Connie and Marco, and presumably everyone else too, as being part of a filthy race. And I know there's been a lot of talk after this arc stuff about some of the messy race stuff in Titan going forward. I don't know anything about that, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt until I see it fuck up. But yeah, that's probably important. So keep that in the back of your mind for whenever we start getting answers for everything about this world. And then we cut to atop the wall, right before the scouts get there. And this scene is really interesting, because it frames Reiner and Bertholdt almost like they're the protagonists. Like, they have this discussion of their determination to win and wipe out humanity. They joke about Bertholdt's love life. They talk about their promise to Ymir, who is Ware, by the way, of their bonds as comrades. It's this very shonen protagonist scene, which definitely adds to this very war is not black and white theme the show's been gunning for since season 2. Anyway, back to the present. I'm very glad that Reiner did not actually die here. Because if he had, this would feel more than a little like a Deus Ex Machina. Like, all of a sudden, Hanji just comes out with this new weapon that can magically pierce Reiner's armor, and it just works without a hitch. It just would be very, very anticlimactic. Which, interestingly enough, is the same complaint I lobbied against Rod's Titan, everything working like a charm there. Still, we'll see how much Reiner comes back from that. By the end of this episode, we see that Reiner is, like, healing after he's called Bertholdt. We see his brain is back and his eyes are back. It's a really grisly image. But yeah, Reiner is definitely still alive as he calls Bertholdt. We find out that Bertholdt this whole time was hiding in a barrel carried by the luggage titan. So there we go. And then as Bertholdt is flying, his plan, I think, is to become colossal in the air and then, like, slam down like he did to Reiner and Eren back in season 2. But seeing the, like, headless Reiner enrages him, and he jumps down and, like, comes to Reiner himself. Which does save everybody for the moment. But after that, Armin, the group retreats, knowing that Bertholdt could go colossal at any moment. And they're about to, like, go back and, try to circle around him and use the Thunder Spears to get rid of Reiner at long last. And do something about Bertholdt. But Armin wants to talk to Bertholdt. He feels kind of bad about them seemingly killing Reiner without having a chance to talk to him. And so Armin wants a way for this all to just end peacefully. The problem is, Bertholdt sure don't. Bertholdt just wants to kill them at this point. But I love everything about this talk. It showcases Armin's compassion that we last saw back at the start of Season 3 with his disdain for torturing the MPs, as he just really wants to stop the fighting. Now, Bertholdt will only agree to stop the fighting if everyone just dies for him, so that's not going to happen. We still don't know why they want them all to die, but of course that'll be a big mystery going into the rest of the season, I imagine. But also, when the chips are down, if Armin has to lie and torment Bertholdt, then god damn it, he's going to torment Bertholdt. Just like we saw back at the end of Season 2, as he tried to convince Bertholdt, or shock Bertholdt enough to give up Eren. Also, it gives us some development for Bertholdt as well. He's no longer just gonna like cry over Annie. At this point, he's gonna wipe out humanity. God damn it, even if it kills him. Then Bertholdt runs away and finally transforms into the Colossal Titan, possibly killing the entire Hanji squad. Though, admittedly, I can't imagine they kill Hanji off that suddenly. Hanji's a big enough character that if and when she dies, it'll be a big moment. But yeah, the Colossal is back in all of his colossalness. The survivors, who are Eren, Armin, Mikasa, John, Connie, and Sasha, interestingly enough, the cadets, wow, what a coincidence, realize that if they don't take out the Colossal now, he'll just leisurely go over and kill all the horses. They won't be able to stop him if they ignore him for too long. And so it has to be here, the final battle with the Colossal Titan. Maybe. I thought we were at the final battle with the Armor Titan as well, but that's not clearly done yet, so I don't know how long that'll go on for. Anyway, cue the Beast Titan do that little ear scratch he did during the Atop the Wall flashback, which has to mean something. And I think he did it during Season 2 as well. But anyway, the episode ends. The end. Or to be continued, I should say. The ending is nice. It's this really nice, relaxing tune set to a kind of greatest hits of the 104th time together, conveniently ignoring the whole Reiner and Bertholdt are Titans thing. All in all, I definitely prefer it to the OP. Also, but it still is not the best theme Titan's ever given us. But yeah, these episodes were a lot. I mean, like, of course they were. They were the first 3 episodes, what promises to be both the biggest and the shortest season Titan's ever given us. These episodes are jam-packed with some great character work, especially with Erwin and Reiner, shocking revelations about Marco particularly, exciting action, and being tantalizingly close to the goddamn basement. Give me more! Next time, Armin Squad, that's their official name now, takes on Bertholdt as the rest of the scouts continue fighting the Beast Titan. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the episodes and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!